Tammy on Facebook, begging her to just let me have some time with my child.
And what kind of response would you get?
All negative. She messaged me on Facebook threatening to file restraining orders on me for threatening her children. I never threatened her children. All I asked was to see my own child.
Right. What was it like to not have your little boy? I mean...
Oh gosh, I mean, I had so many nightmares. I would wake up crying in the middle of the night. I mean, you hear people say about mother's intuition. I could truly feel that something was wrong. They completely shut me off from his life.
What was the explanation? I mean, what did his father say?
He had no reason for it other than what I really believe is spite. That's a bond that should never have been broken.
It's been 2 years, essentially, and then you get a phone call from the police.
It was the sergeant who, and I had actually called him out Friday morning to do a well child check. And Brad and Tammy were both at the house and told the officer that they had taken Jordan back to Alabama the night before. This officer actually happened to be from Alabama, and he knew how long it took to get there driving. And the time period that they were giving him did not match up. So he knew they were lying.
Okay, but this was the first that you knew that anything was wrong?
No. February the 15th, I got on my Facebook and I noticed that I had 3 messages. One was from Tammy's own brother, and then 2 of them were from women who used to babysit the children. And they were all saying, do you know where your son is? Do you know what's going on?
Knew something wasn't right.
Yes. I was so scared that they were going to find my child in a ditch somewhere.
Right.
No one could get a straight answer out of either of them where the child was. And then they found him in the hotel room in Humble with Brad and Tammy.
When this child was taken to the hospital, it's my understanding that he weighed 29 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't like he's a little thin.
No. The doctors told me that he was days away from starving to death.
You know, this is a picture taken on the gurney. What do you think when you look at this?
I think that those people are monsters. I don't understand how they could have done that to my sweet baby.
Now, according to the CPS, the officials visited the house on the 20th of February.
Yes.
And they said the child was not in this state of malnourishment.
That's a lie. I asked the pediatrician at the hospital, how long could this have gone on for it to be this bad? He told me no less than 4 months.
When you saw him in this condition, take me through that moment.
And I wanted to cry so bad, but I knew I had to be strong for him.
What is this black thing on his right shoulder?
That is a taser mark where Bradley tased him.
That's from an electrical shock.
Yes.
And how do you know that he was tased?
Not only did the medical professionals at the hospital say that it looked very similar to a taser mark, but the 16-year-old, who is Tammy's oldest son, he came up to the hospital and told me that he heard Bradley upstairs with the taser and he heard it go off. And then he heard Jordan say, ow. And then he heard Bradley tell him, you better shut up or you're gonna get another one.
You have to say that, of course, is an allegation. It hasn't been proven. What have the police told you about what they've learned about the abuse that he endured?
Coming up.
What did he tell you about the closet?
They left him in there, I mean, all day, all night. They would open it every so often to, I guess, make sure that he was still alive.
This May on Dr. Phil.
I didn't hear it. You don't know your information.
I've been trying to end it. It's a month of controversial guests.
You said I had an affair a year ago, and that's it. You have had one.
Yes.
Is this number 2?
I wonder how many more chairs you could fit over there.
How many more chairs do we need?
shocking accusations.
How do you feel about being here with Chris?
I'm terrified.
I am guilty of being a bad dad, but I am not a pedophile.
You know what you did to me. Stop lying.
Dramatic interventions.
My mother is more attached to her junk than her kids.
I don't believe I'm a hoarder.
Oh my God. These are things that you've saved.
You just never know when you might need a wheel.
Plus, Dr. Phil exclusives all month long. House of Horror survivor Michelle Knight returns.
She will appear here in front of a live studio audience.
You won't believe where she's living now. An exclusive look.
Your daughter says you ignored red flags that Miranda was in a cult.
Accused of murder.
Do you have any doubt that she could kill this man?
Oh, I know she did.
Her mother and sister speak out.
Do you believe she has killed other people?
Stories ripped from the headlines.
No arrests have been made for the deaths of 2 children.
Cody and Julia killed those children.
We're innocent.
But you have explanations for the deaths.
They both had an adverse reaction to their vaccinations.
The evidence examined.
You have blunt force trauma, fractures of ribs.
Now, are you convinced that it wasn't a reaction to vaccination?
No, you can't tell me that my child was abused.
You are the poster girl for the entitled teen.
I did not set the house on fire to kill my children.
You said Melissa man-raped me.
I didn't want it. She came on to me.
Well, you poor thing.
Am I gonna get my word to talk? This is my story. This is just not what I came on this show for.
This May on Dr. Phil. The Boy Under the Stairs, a Dr. Phil exclusive, continues.
Imagine the torture this child endured. Child Protective Services insist, no. A social worker visited and photographed the boy just 5 weeks ago, and everything was fine and dandy.
Tonight, we are getting our first look at the court records in this case.
They show CPS may have known about Jordan's abuse. Records indicate in January of this year, one of the kids in the home told his counselor abuse was going on, and his dad pushed his little brother's head against the wall. And whenever the little boy was allowed out of his closet under the staircase, he was forced to stand in the corner and eat dinner alone, according to these records.
What have the police told you about what they've learned about the abuse that he endured?
You can look at him and see the type of condition that he was in. He had enormous whelps, and 3/4 of his face was black and purple. The doctors did a CAT scan that day, and they told me they found old blood on his brain from the brain hemorrhaging from being hit in the head so hard. When I asked my baby what those bruises on his face were from, he told me that Brad put him in the corner for being bad. And then when he was being bad in the corner, that Brad hit his face on the wall. I will never forget that man for what he did to him.
The police report says that there were bumps, bruises, severely underweight, malnourished, bones sticking out, shoulder blades, ribs, and vertebrae showing through the skin.
Yeah.
Abrasions on the back, bleeding from the back, skin coming off of the back.
Oh yeah, it's something no child should ever have to endure.
What was the first thing your son said to you when you saw him?
Mommy. And it's never felt better for me to ever hear those words. I forgot what it was like to hear his voice because it had been so long. When I walked into that room, the child laying in that bed had the same eyes and the same smile and the same voice, but he did not look like the baby that I had seen 2 years before that. And it tore my heart up.
What did you say to him when you first saw him?
I told him that I missed him so much, and that I promised that I would never be away from him again. You don't even have to be a medical professional to tell that child was kept from food. When we first got him into the hospital, some of the family brought in some Nutella and crackers, and he watched it like a hawk. He was so defensive. When we took him to the playroom up there, they have a little kitchen with all the fake food and stuff. I mean, this room is full of toys. The only thing he wanted to play with was that food.
Just so I'm clear, where was this closet in the house, to your understanding?
Underneath the stairs. This is how they were able to hide him when CPS and the police came out. They had an extra little room inside of the room in the closet, and it was just a small little cubby hole. But if you put stuff in front of it, you can't even tell that there's a door there. The children called it the Harry Potter room because it was hidden.
What did he tell you about the closet?
I asked him if he had a bed, and that's when he told me he had one upstairs, but not downstairs. And I asked him, did you have a blanket? And he said, no. I said, what about a pillow? No. I asked him if he had gone to a doctor or a dentist, and he told me no.
I understand that he said that he was locked up with a padlock under the stairs, given drugs to sleep when people came over to the house.
I was told by some of Brad and Tammy's family friends that they were giving Jordan ADHD medication. I was also told that they were giving him antidepressants to keep him groggy so that when police or anything came over, so they just didn't have to deal with him.
But not let him out, just
no.
Look at
They told the other children in the house that if they went down there and tried to help him, that they would get hurt. I know that Bradley had fought with the 16-year-old countless times when he went down there and tried to help Jordan out of the closet. Tammy's brother and her son had contacted me, and they were gonna try to literally go downstairs while they were asleep and pull him out of the closet and drive over to our house.
Did he actually mention the closet?
Oh yes. I mean, the babysitter told me that the day that because her and Tammy had been friends for about 8 or 9 years. And I mean, she told me she was at their house and Brad had to go to the store and Tammy wanted Brad to take Jordan with him. So he went to the closet, and at that time, Jordan had been drugged. He was very woozy. Brad grabbed him by his shoulders and picked him up and put him on his feet. And then he said, come on, and Jordan didn't step right away, and so he grabbed him by the back of his head and slammed his face into the wall. And the babysitter told me that right then, she called CPS.
What's your understanding about how long he would be in that closet at a time?
They left him in there, I mean, all day, all night. They would open it every so often to, I guess, make sure that he was still alive.
Coming up.
When we come back, we're going inside this house, inside the closet, and inside the crawl space where this little boy was allegedly held.
We now return to a Dr. Phil exclusive, The Boy Under the Stairs.
This is a 5-year-old little boy. First, let me just tell you, he's alive, okay? He lived through a miracle. His bones are literally sticking out of his skin. Police say his dad and stepmom kept him hidden away in a tiny closet under the stairs in the family's Houston area home.
Attorneys for Jordan's stepmother, Tammy Blymeyer, allowed us inside the house where police say the little boy was locked up inside a closet under the stairs. Now, I want you to watch for anything that might seem strange. Does the home appear to have been cleaned up? Tammy's attorney, Julie Ketterman, took us on the tour. Take a look.
This is Tammy's house.
Who all lives here?
She lives here with her 6 children, and then Brad moved in with Jordan when they got married 2+ years ago. She's pregnant with their 7th. So over to the left, we have the 16-year-old's bedroom.
Okay, it looks like we're under construction here.
It's just an older house. In here, this is the actual room that Jordan shared with his stepbrother.
So the 2 boys slept in here.
Right. This is them. And if you ask the 5-year-old sister, she says the same thing. This is where he slept.
Has this room been painted since the allegations?
No.